Welcome to the future of understanding. This is NeuroMind Insights, where we unlock the power of your mind.
Lighting a single cigarette releases over 7,000 distinct chemicals, sending a high-speed rush of toxic particles directly into your bloodstream. This chemical influx has severe, deadly consequences. According to the CDC, tobacco use is a leading death, linked to 8 million deaths globally every year. For the 1.3 billion active smokers worldwide, the habit is often deeply ingrained, making the resulting physical damage feel permanent or impossible to stop. However, if the intake of toxins stops, the body initiates a process of cellular repair that can reverse years of damage. The second the final cigarette is extinguished, a 15-year biological repair sequence begins. These physical repairs start in less time than a typical morning commute. What follows is a conflict between the brain's immediate craving for nicotine and the body's long-term healing process. At the 20-minute mark, elevated pulse and blood pressure drop back to normal. This happens because the body stops producing excess epinephrine and norepinephrine, allowing constricted blood vessels to relax and widen. Between 8 and 12 hours after quitting, carbon monoxide inhaled from cigarette smoke begins to clear. In the bloodstream, carbon monoxide molecules compete to bind to hemoglobin, physically blocking oxygen from reaching cells. Once cleared, oxygen reclaims its space on red blood cells, improving circulation and returning warmth to your hands and feet. In just half a day, the cardiovascular system shifts from oxygen deprivation to efficient delivery. The 24 to 48-hour window presents a biological contradiction. While the body's health markers improve, the physical experience often involves significant discomfort. At the 48-hour mark, damaged nerve endings begin to regrow, which sharpens the physical senses of taste and smell. Around the 24-hour mark, coughing frequently increases as the lungs begin to clear out accumulated toxic mucus. At 72 hours, nicotine is entirely depleted from the body. This chart shows the neurological effect of that depletion. Without nicotine, dopamine release falls below the normal threshold. This drop triggers peak withdrawal symptoms, including anxiety, nausea, and intense cravings. While this 72-hour period is a difficult test of willpower, it marks the point where the chemical dependence is broken. After the first month, the severe cravings subside and physical energy levels return to their pre-smoking baseline. Between months 3 and 9, cilia, tiny hair-like structures inside the lungs, recover, resuming their function of sweeping debris out of the respiratory system. As these structures heal, symptoms like shortness of breath and the frequency of lung infections decrease. By 9 months, the body has restored its primary respiratory defenses, allowing for normal physical activity. Reaching 1 year marks the transition toward long-term disease prevention. At this milestone, the risk of heart disease is reduced by half. At 5 years, the blood vessels have healed and widened enough that the risk of blood clots and stroke drops to a non-smoker's level. After 10 years, the risk of developing and dying from lung cancer is also reduced by half. Throughout this decade, the body systematically addresses the most lethal health threats associated with long-term tobacco use. The final milestone occurs at 15 years. The risk of a heart attack is now the same as if you had never smoked. While this recovery is extensive, it is important to note that some lung tissue damage and disease susceptibility may remain. The withdrawal symptoms experienced in those first 72 hours are the cost of securing decades of biological recovery. You can begin this process today by using support resources like the National Cancer Institute's Quit line at 877-44U-QUIT.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to NeuroMind Insights for more.